Welcome to the DonorWise Learning Library. This session is a donation batches overview. I just want to give you an idea of how a donation batch process works from start to finish in DonorWise and explain a few things along the way. Here we are in DonorWise, and I'm going to start in the donation batches section with the very first item, which is new batches. This is the part where we create the new batch. There's two buttons up here. There's new batch and import batch. The first screen is the information for the new batch, and I'm going to write a description that is relevant to me. I tend to use the same descriptions over and over again, describing the type of batch. So this may be a cash batch, or it could be a daily batch, for example. DonorWise defaults to the open period right here, and then down here in the calendar, one thing to look out for is that today's date may not be the selected date. In this example, August 8th is the selected date, but today's date is August 16th. In DonorWise, you cannot select a date that is later than the current date. When I click Next, I now enter the items that are going in the batch. So I'm going to call this one Cash. You typically would not mix payment types unless they are similar. So cash and check would often go together, but you typically would not mix a bank import with a cash batch because they were not processed together. So I'll say cash is 100 and check is 100, and I click OK. Now when I do that, I now have the batch entry screen, and up here on the top of the screen it shows me the payment types that I entered and the amounts. The first row here, I'm going to enter a donor's name. I'll say Mickey Mouse, and I just press F3 to search for him, and it automatically starts searching for him. I didn't need to enter the whole name at all, just Mouse. And I hit Enter, and it goes through, and I'm going to tab over. And this payment type box, because I have multiple payment types, it does not fill it in for me. So I'm going to select from the only two available, cash and check, because that's all that's in the batch, cash and check. And I'll say this is 100. And when I get to the designation name, if I click the drop down, I see that DonorWise actually shows me only the people that Mickey Mouse has supported in the past. That makes it go faster. I can do any other designation or all of them here, but I'm going to select Clark Kent. I can tab through, but if I press enter, it'll take me to the next row. It will continue to give me new rows until the amount that I have entered equals the amount of the batch total. So this one I'm going to say is Donald Duck. I press F3 to search for him. There it is, Donald Duck, and I click OK. And this one I'm going to say is the check amount for 100. And Donald Duck is a supporter of Bob and Helen Parr. And now look what happens to this Mark Complete button right here when I press enter. Now the Mark Complete button is available, and the reason is because I said there was 200 euros in this batch, and there they are. So I press Mark Complete. Now before I do that, I want to take a look right over here. Look at this new batches link. Notice that the number 1 is there. It was not there before. And here this same batch is showing up right here. This is batch number 1074, and that's the one I'm working on, 1074. It's in new batches because it's in a new state. It hasn't been approved or posted or anything available for approval. But once I press Mark Complete, now it asks me if I want to view a batch transactions edit report. After I approve it, it's going to force me to print this. But right now it's asking me if I want to do it just so that I can review it. So I'm going to say no. Now look, there it is. One batch in approved batches. That's batch number 174. Once I approve this, it's going to go to the posts area. And if your system is connected to your general ledger, once you click approve, it is completed as far as you're concerned. It's going to move forward to your general ledger system. So the approval process, once a batch is approved, as far as the system is concerned, it is finished. So I approve that. And now it's launched the batch transaction report. Many people will choose to print this and file it. It's a great backup copy. Okay, now the batch has moved from approved batches into the post batches area. Again, if your accounting system is dynamically linked, such as Microsoft Dynamics, this would be automatic. But in our case, it's not in this example because my DonorWise is not linked to a general ledger. And this would be true for many ministries in the United States that are using DonorWise because you need to manually enter this entry into your accounting system. That's why this is here. So when I click this and I press post, it's going to pop up the copy of the journal that I would use. So now I can export this and maybe import it into my general ledger, or I can print it by sending it to Excel. I close that, and now it's posted. And then it comes here in unconfirmed batches. So I'll just look at this one. That's 1074, and that's the one we just did. When I press confirm, it now allows me to enter the journal ID. So if I was using QuickBooks, for example, I might put journal entry number 479. Now, I'll admit that for some people, this 4-step process seems a bit cumbersome to do for every single batch. But it's also important to remember that DonorWise is designed to protect the integrity of your system. And so by doing this logical step process, it makes it easier to come back and find out what happened and to match your general ledger journal to the DonorWise batch. It's all done to protect the funds of your ministry. Now, the final process is this unreceipted donations. When I come to the unreceipted area, I see down at the bottom of the list are the 2 entries that I just made, from Mickey Mouse to Clark Kent, and from Donald and Daisy Duck to Bob and Helen Parr. So I'm going to select one of those and print this receipt. When I do that, I get this receipt report, and it shows who they were supporting on this particular donation. What is this receipt for? It also shows a 12-month donation history for all of the people that they've supported in our ministry. So that's an overview of the donation process. I hope that's helpful to you. Have a great day.